What is up, guys? It is Wednesday, halfway through the week. We are oop, one day away. Get your binoculars out. One day away from NFL. I'm fucking stoked. I cannot wait. Chomping at the bit. Jovan, I know you're ready, although you've probably been diving into damn MLB props all day, but it's about that time of year, brother,
Yeah.
where we get to enjoy betting on the best sport to bet on. I think we can all agree NFL, it's up there, and I'm fucking stoked, man. Absolutely stoked. It's Wagon Wednesday. How about it?
It is.
How about it, Lauren? I hope you like the elevator music. Very relaxing. Get your head in the right place. Absolutely love it. Sets the tone. How did yesterday go, Jovan? Randy Arozarena tucked us in, literally.
Yeah, dude, it's Randy Bonds yesterday. Greatest hitter alive.
Greatest hitter alive.
Yeah, I mean, that was great. A couple of the games were great. Shout out the Padres finishing that one off. I know you had some units as well on that. So that was great.
Yup.
What else happened yesterday? That was nice. The Pirates took the work to the Mets and Taiwan Walker yesterday. That was awesome.
How about O'Neal Cruz, huh?
How about him? Honestly, whenever he's, I was hesitant on it just in general, but whenever he's on Prize Picks and I like the Pirates as a side, I'm just gonna automatically take him because he goes as they go.
That is fair. That is fair. I mean, he hit a ball. He literally lunged, scooped, and flailed with one arm and hit a ball so fucking hard and far that I almost spit out my drink.
Yeah.
The dude is just so naturally gifted. And I mean, yeah, like I get it. He's hitting 200. He needs to work on getting on base more. But the dude's raw talent is maybe the greatest that I've ever seen. Ever. Have you ever seen a 6'7" absolute monster who can literally swing with the strength of an 8-year-old and hit the ball out of a fucking park?
Yeah, dude.
I've never seen
it. Unreal.
I've never seen it.
Hitting balls 115 like it's regular, like every game.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Mets are making some revenge right now. They've got a storm brewing. I don't know if you have any bets in that game or not, but
God no.
They've got second and third no outs. I think the Mets left Pirate Stadium with a sour taste in their mouth yesterday.
Oh yeah, little roll today in both of these games.
We had a good day yesterday, though.
Yeah,
we had a good day. I went 2-1. Shout out the Padres for finally doing something. That was pretty cool. Much appreciated, I would say. I mean, that bet was dead from the start. Honestly, very lucky. But sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Straight up.
Sometimes that's what you need.
Although I will say, I don't think there was a point in that game where I thought my bet was dead. I feel like every inning, they went down 5-0 and I was like, fuck. But then every inning, I feel like the Padres kind of struck back and hit a home run or something. Yeah. Shout out Josh Bell. Soto didn't do shit. I'm kind of mad at Soto. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you heard the comments, but I'm kind of pissed.
Yeah, figured.
I'm kind of pissed. Did you see it or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beats. If people haven't seen it, I'll pull it up real quick. Are you drinking a White Claw? What is that?
No, it's a Celsius full energy.
Sure.
Give me a boost.
Hey, if it was a White Claw, I don't judge.
You should. If it was, you should.
I probably should judge you. Yeah. But let me fucking show this.
I'm surprised you didn't take the Mariners yesterday with me.
Well, I thought about it, and then then I started to think, is that line that weird? And then I started to think Logan Gilbert, turkey tosser. I'm going to go out on record and say that I don't think Logan Gilbert's a turkey tosser anymore. I think he might have just went through a bad stretch. I'm not saying he's that good, but I think I was taking that too far. I think he looked great last night. He was getting hyped up, coming off the mound, celebrating, giving me college baseball vibes. I enjoyed it. That bet was great. Good bet. Yeah, good bet. This is the fucking tweet I'm talking about. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll keep this short and sweet because you guys know I like chirping Soto when I have the opportunity. I have to. they were asking him about, the boos. He's been getting booed. I mean, so is the rest of the team, and they kind of deserve it. They've been playing like dog shit.
Yeah.
And his response was, the challenge is just going from a team that doesn't care about anything because they know they don't go anywhere to a team that has a really good chance to win. Now, I thought that was extremely interesting for a couple reasons as the Mets bang. I hope you guys are all in the Mets today because they're going to roll.
Should.
Anywho, I thought this was an extremely interesting comment for a couple reasons. Number one, he's been playing like dog shit since he's come over there, and so has the rest of the team. Number two, when he was in DC on a team that, and let me use his terminology, when he was on the team that doesn't care about anything, he played like he didn't care about anything. He was lazy in the outfield. He didn't dive for balls. I mean, we talked about it, Jovan. His defense, and he's not good at defense, but his defense, I mean, he was the worst rated right fielder in the league when he was on the Nats. That's what these Nats Twitter's going nuts with this quote, by the way.
I'm sure.
He was the worst. He put in zero effort in the outfield. His at-bats were not great. He went from being happy-go-lucky Soto, dancing around the box, to, smacking his bat around and yelling and arguing. It just wasn't right. And to be honest with you, I know he's young. He's younger than me. Like, he's got shit to learn. And, like, I'm not bashing him as a person. I think he's honestly a great fucking dude. And he's so good for the sport. And I love his energy. And it's great to see him happy. But he hasn't been happy much recently on the Padres. I think that happiness has kind of faded. And it deserves to. The Nats have found a replacement. Meneses, he's better.
Yeah.
He's better. He's not actually better, but his stats have been incredible. That dude deserves a shout out 100%. But my point is here, Soto, whether you're young or not, whatever team you're going to be on the rest of your career, you are going to be looked at as a leader. Now, is Machado the face of the Padres? Yes, he is. He's the Padre. But Juan Soto is one of the best players in baseball, and the teammates around him, whether they're old or young, are going to look to him as being a leader by his play on the field. And maybe the fact that the Nats didn't care a lot when he was on the team was because he led by example terribly, by not putting in any effort, by running the base pass like a moron, like not diving for balls or sprinting or hustling for foul balls in right fields, making dumb plays, arguing, not putting in 100% effort, not showing the heart that I know he has in there. Because he's got the most heart out of any player I've ever seen. Absolutely electric. Love Juan Soto to death. And I still love him. Whatever team he goes on, I'm still going to root for him. I still root for Harper, even though he's on the Phillies. And I hate that he's on the Phillies. I can't help myself. I still root for him. And I'm still going to root for Juan. But I thought that was just a low chirp. Instead of him saying, you know what, we all just need to play better. We're tight. We need to loosen up and play better baseball, plain and simple. We're too good to be playing like this. He blamed it on his old team who stinks and blamed it on an excuse saying, well, it's hard coming to a good team from a bad team. Bro, nobody feels bad for you. You're Juan Soto. Grow up. Ridiculous comment, I thought. Probably the only comment Juan Soto's ever made where it actually upset me.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Am I just being a pissy Nats fan, or am I right? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it was a little unnecessary of a comment, sure. Okay. But I think he, like, to a degree, kind of has a point. And it's not like an excuse to say, like, oh, I deserve to play, poorly, or we all deserve to play poorly. Like, you got to figure it out at some point. But I mean, it's just a lot of pressure. I think that's what he's referring to more than anything. Mm-hmm. He's probably having trouble handling it. I think it was probably not meant to be as big a jab as it was, but a little unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the dude's won a World Series already. He's dealt with pressure. I don't understand it. Like, how do you get more pressure than going to a World Series and leading your team and playing great when you're literally a rookie? Like, I don't fucking understand.
To be fair, though, I mean, like, throughout the whole run, what pressure was on the Nationals? They were the team that had nothing to lose because they have no business being there.
That's a good point. And now he's on a team that people were calling a super team that's supposed to compete with the Dodgers, who are literally cracked and unbeatable. Maybe you're right. Maybe now that he's actually on a team that's supposed to do something, that is supposed to have been doing something for the last couple of years. Because this is not the first time this team's gone out and bought guys.
Yeah.
They've been buying guys the last couple of years, and they're playing like shit. But hey, shout out the Padres. They came through last night for the boy.
They did.
How about it?
Mr.
You love it.
Azakar with the greatest at bat of all time.
He had a legacy AB. He really did. He had
that was
two.
A career defining.
He had two great at bats in the 8th and 9th inning, I believe. 2 insane walks where he absolutely battled. So yes, Azukar, you're awesome. I appreciate it, brother. You're definitely not watching, but hell yes. What a game that was, man. Holy smokes.
Definition of a legacy walk.
It was huge because they didn't need to put in Hader or their bullpen.
Yeah.
Which is a W. What else happened yesterday? Anything crazy? The Pirates they came home for the boys. I had a KBO play last night, if you guys tailed that. Sorry for wasting your time. Shit tied. You literally can't make it up, dude. Like, what a ridiculous sport to have ties going on. I don't get it. Wild.
Unreal.
They blew it in the 9th, too, which sucked. They were up 2-1 going into the 9th, and they blew it. That's okay, though. Hey, you're never going to hear me complain about a fucking push. A push is a win. The units returned home. They didn't return home with excess units, but they came home.
They did.
We'll carry on.
Back to base.
But yeah, I mean, you hate to see it. I said a comment earlier. I was like, I wish I'd rather lose than tie. That's not true. That's a dumb comment, but ridiculous. What is it, soccer? I know it's been on soccer. And then Alfaro, who might be the worst hitter ever on the Padres, except in the 9th inning when they need a hit.
Yeah.
Shout out Alfaro.
He's like Kevin Kiermaier.
He's like Kevin Kiermaier. Yep. Except not as good.
I mean, Kevin Kiermaier, greatest fielder of all time, worst hitter of all time.
Azukar prepped the sheets. Alfaro ducked. Love it.
That's fact.
Gosh, how about the Braves, man? That was quick. That was quick. I mean, we talked about it literally a month ago when they were 10.5 back, and now they're already tied for first. That's a W.
Yeah.
I hope you guys got in on that futures ticket with me, plus 300. Shit's going to pay out. They're going to win that division, plain and simple. Scherzer just went on the DL. I hope he's okay. I think he's got some fatigue going on, but that's the last thing that team needs heading into the home stretch here.
Yeah.
And he pretty much said, I watched his presser after his start. He was like, yeah, like I'm not hurt. It doesn't hurt. I probably could have gone out there if I needed to, but he just had no power. He was tired. His oblique, he's had some oblique problems, in the last couple of years. That's been his like main injury. So that's definitely concerning that it's that injury again.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be very careful with him going forward. I don't think it's anything that serious, but if he comes back and his velo's down, we'll have to see. Because come playoff time, that guy's not going to take himself out of a game. He'll do it during the regular season because he's smart, but come playoff time, he's not. If he feels some fatigue, he's powering through, and that might not be good.
Yeah, it's definitely not good.
Also, did you know Jacob deGrom is 35 years old?
Is he really?
Did you know that?
I mean, I don't know what I thought he was, but
I thought he was like 28.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought he was younger than that. That's for sure.
He's 34, brother.
Jeez.
Did anyone else in chat know that? Like, did anyone know this guy is actually throwing 101 miles an hour at this age? Like, I thought he was still young.
That's wild.
Yeah, like I need to dig into his background and see how many years he was like in the minors and shit. Because, I mean, how long has he been pitching in the MLB? Has it been 10 years yet?
Probably getting close.
2014, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is his 9th year. So, yeah. Damn, time flies, man. Time flies when you're betting left and right. Plain and simple. Anything else crazy happened yesterday in MLBs?
I mean, that Rockies Brewers game was pretty awesome. Probably not awesome for the Brewers and their playoff aspirations because it's a big collapse for them in that race.
Yeah, weren't they up like 5-1?
Yeah, 5-1, something like that. And then the Rockies dropped, I think, five or something in the 8th. and then they walked it off. Grichuk had another one.
Randall Grichuk had 2, right?
Yeah, he was also Barry Bonds yesterday. But
Sure.
those are like I said it from the beginning too. Like, or I guess we were talking about it a little bit ago. I don't think the Brewers are going to do it with the way that they've looked and schedule they have coming up. And the only way they're going to do it and get in the playoffs is if they really sweep through these shitty teams. And a loss with Woodruff on the mound against the Rockies, sure, it's Coors, whatever, but he pitched really well. And that bullpen is god awful. So they can't afford these losses, and it's not looking great for them.
I mean, I'm mad at myself for not taking that over with you guys. I mean, seeing a total with Woodruff on the bump at 11, don't care where the game is, don't care who's playing. That screams over. I should have taken it. That was dumb. I'm with you. And yeah, now they're 3 games back. Like that was a huge loss. And the Padres literally could not be playing worse baseball. And you gotta think they're gonna turn it around, right?
You would think at some point
they can't play worse. They can't play worse. This has to be the floor. I mean, Jovan, what are they going to hit? 0? They're never going to get a hit ever. Like, they're hitting a buck. They're all hitting a buck.
The thing is, like, they can play like this and still make it, because I think the Brewers can play well and still not.
That's my point. That's my point, is that this team is playing the worst they could possibly play. The Brewers are not good. Yeah. And the Padres are still up 3 games, playing the worst baseball around. And maybe that walk-off last night gets the boys flowing. Maybe it gets the juices flowing. I hate to sound corny, but like teams in this position need stuff like that. They need their bottom of the order guys to hit a walk-off, to take some pressure off and have some fun and gel. They need shit like that. Now, do I think they're going to go on and win the World Series? No. I did take a peek today at their odds, though. They're plus 2,300. That's some value for a really good roster. I'm not taking a team that has Mike Clevenger as a starter, though, to win the World Series. Okay?
Yeah, even out of this Musgrove at this point, too.
I'm curious of what chat thinks is going to happen in the World Series this year. Who do you guys think is going to win? I'm thinking about placing a little bets here on the Braves. And I know I've lost some CLV. You know, I don't give a shit. Yeah. A lot of Dodgers talk. I mean, yeah, obviously the Dodgers are the best team I've ever seen assembled. But I'll tell you right now, the Dodgers have the best team ever that I've ever seen in my entire life of following baseball. That's fair. Best roster I've ever seen. That doesn't mean shit once we come to the postseason. It definitely helps, but it doesn't mean everything, is my point. There's no base props up for Houston. Yeah, we'll get to that. I know you're salivating to talk about that game. My point is, when we hit the regular season, or when we hit the postseason, okay? When we hit the postseason, get that shit off the screen. When we hit the postseason, it's literally everyone's equal. It's a new season. Good fucking luck. Everyone's good. Everyone thinks they're going to win. Everyone thinks they're the best. You made it into the playoffs. Yeah, the Nats are making a run. Don't let them get hot, Kev. Don't let them get hot. Attaboy. The Rays could do it. Sure they can. Seriously, don't count out the Rays. They're fucking weirdos.
Realistically, like, if everybody gets healthy, we could very easily get past everybody except the Astros.
Well, yeah, the AL blows now. The AL actually blows.
Honestly, the Astros too. I'm having trouble trusting if their offense doesn't figure it out.
Literally, Lauren. I'm sure you would love to see Daddy Adley in the World Series. I'm sure you would. That shit ain't happening though. Although I do like the Orioles again today. I'm with you and Peter on that one. And we could start talking about some of these games. I'm very curious to see what people in chat were saying. Some Mets talk. Yeah, they could do it. They need Scherzer to be healthy. If they don't have Scherzer to be healthy, they're fucked. What team has the best pitching rotation right now? That's a really good question, dudes.
Great question.
I mean, probably the Astros with a healthy Verlander. Are we counting health in this?
I think you got to count health.
I'd probably take the Astros as having the best overall 4-man rotation for the playoffs. What do you think?
I think for the AL, it's definitely between the Astros and the Mariners. But
okay.
I think it's still clearly the Astros, health even aside, or included, whatever you want to talk about. I think Marco Gonzalez being in there is a tough look. Very, very tough look. As far as the NL goes, that's even tougher. Like I think on paper, you would think that the Dodgers and Braves are quite a bit ahead, but we all know how I feel about Kyle Wright, who shout out Kyle Wright, not him, once again proven last night.
Correct.
And Strider, I don't trust Strider. Like I'm sorry.
I think they have a good if it gets to it, they could do it. They could run a 3-man rotation with Fried, Morton, and Strider, and then have like a bullpen type weird game. They could run with that, and they'd be in a pretty good spot, I think.
I think people still really don't understand what Max Fried has been doing. He's like Kyle Wright and Strider have been getting the talk in that rotation, but Max Fried has been absolutely amazing.
Framber's been getting a lot of gas, right, for having this crazy quality start streak, but I don't give a fuck. If I have to take one starting pitcher in baseball right now, well, if I had to take one left-handed starting pitcher in baseball, why don't we be normal here? I think I'm taking Fried. What do you think? The dude is unhittable, and the craziest part is the reason his numbers aren't even better than they are, and they really couldn't get much better, is because he had 3 shit starts to start the year.
Yeah. Not wrong. I think he's probably one of the more dominant, definitely one of the more dominant left-hand pitchers right now.
Who else would you rather have as a lefty?
Probably nobody right now. And in the NL, Jordan Montgomery's making a hell of a case.
Dude.
The way that he's pitching right now.
You're right. But get that shit out of here. Come on now.
It's the truth. If I'm picking one lefty, I'm taking Ryan Yarbrough to the bank. The GOAT.
Dude. Yeah, I think I'd just take I think I'd rather have the Astros rotation, honestly, dude, with Framber, Verlander, Javier, and then you literally have between Garcia, McCullers, and Urquidy, like you can pick and choose. They literally have like 7 starters at this point.
That's the thing.
What are they about to do?
Yeah, when we come like push to shove, they have they can put 2 of those guys in longer relief roles. So
yeah,
they have so much flexibility going into the postseason, which is that's what is going to make them so great. Especially if their offense doesn't pick it up, they're going to have to rely on them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Christian Javier, if he's probably the guy that's really going to be in that long relief bullpen role. That's what he's been doing.
I think they'd rather have a guy like McCullers who's been there before.
Yeah.
I think they'd rather have a guy like him in the rotation. Maybe have Javier come out of the bullpen as like a bridge guy.
100%. He's been fantastic. I think he's going to show up today.
100%. Really?
100%.
Okay. That bullpen is pretty good too in Houston. Not great, but pretty good.
Definitely.
It's going to come down to fucking Dusty Baker. Is he going to make the right moves? We'll see. He's definitely capable. Dane Dunning, sure. I'm taking Dane Dunning. How about it? You know who I'm taking? I'm taking Paulo Espino. How about it?
Cy Young.
I'm taking, who's actually Cy Young right now is Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't know if you guys are, I know you're hip, but I don't know if everyone's hip to what Anibal Sanchez is actually doing, but let me just pull up his stats real quick because they're actually
prime animal right now.
His last 5 starts, dude, these are against good teams except for the Athletics. He pitched against the Padres, 5 innings, 3 runs, and then he did Padres again, and this is really impressive. 5 innings, 1 run. Pitched better the second time around, back-to-back starts within a fucking week. That's extremely impressive in my opinion, especially when half that team is fucking ex-Nats who know what this dude's throwing. And then Mariners, he pitched 4 1/3, but he only gave up 2 hits and no runs. I guess they had a short leash there. Athletics, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. And then he just pitched against the Cardinals, a 5-inning gem, 2 hits, no runs. Don't let Anibal get hot.
Don't let him.
The dude's in a fight. He must have stepped in a damn time machine.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, though, Zach Gallen is actually fucking cracked out right now. Yeah.
Oh, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. somehow make this run and end up making it pretty competitive towards the end, whew, that'll be
Oof,
very interesting to watch.
oof is right. I agree. Guys, we got our guy John Ballman coming on here in about 10, 15. He's a fucking goat. He's going to come on, talk some baseball. He's got some good stories for us. He's the guy who came on and gave us those good Kirk stories. Dude's a beast. So be ready to be entertained in a couple when he comes on. Dude's a fucking beast. Let's get some W's in chat when he comes on. Any other games today? Why don't you go ahead and talk about your Astros and why you like them and how it's sketchy there's no total bases up for them and how they're going to win by 100 today and it's square. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like when I was going through, like it wasn't even part of it that there's no total bases up. I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you. I just thought they're going to get loaded on later. But
Okay.
I am just such a big fan of fading Reagans. Like I mean, seen him in person a couple times too, and he just gives up so much hard contact. It's crazy. And coming off of the IL, how long is he going to go? That's always a question. But like coming off the IL, I think this is a pretty big get right spot for the Astros offense. And with a guy like him, who he's really only throwing 2 pitches, fastball, changeup, and his changeup hasn't had much command against a patient team like the Astros. It's not going to work. First time they weren't really great. They were just hitting the ball hard, and they got 2 big hits, and they still scored 5 runs.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stat line right now. He did not pitch well against them. 2 home runs, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 1/3, 1 K.
And they were getting really unlucky in that game too. They're hitting the ball hard right to guys, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that just with the results this time around. And I will be taking Jose Altuve. I don't care the fantasy score is super high. I'm taking him. And like somebody's saying in the chat, first inning pitches, mid-major Matt brought that up a little earlier. That's a great look, especially how patient this Astros offense is. Looking at because he mentioned it, I looked into it. He's given up walks in the first inning. He's given up home runs in the first inning. He struggles finding that change of command early in the game. That's a problem, especially if there's Altuve, Pena, Bregman, Jordan at the top, which there should be.
The one thing that scares me about that is that Altuve has been known to be a first pitch swinger.
He has.
He gets a fastball first pitch. He might be swinging. I mean, that ball could go over the fucking fence. He's had so many first pitch leadoff bombs, right? But
Yes.
You're going to take it over pitches in the first inning where the guy who's batting leadoff is known for first pitch swinging?
I will.
Okay.
I think, I mean, not that I'm basing it off of it, but look at what he's done against them the first time around. He was struggling to find that changeup command, and what happened? He walked Altuve to lead off the game. And then he's done the same against the A's, I think it was. They hit him hard. I just think they'll get hits off him in the first inning no matter what. I'm not saying this is like a smash prop because I do absolutely despise the first inning props, whatever they are, the hits, the pitches, whatever. But that's a good spot for it today. But I mean, I like all the Astros hitters a lot more, especially Altuve. But I think that's like the super square bet that I'll probably be on in some form or fashion is the Astros. Plus, we're looking at like
a -1.5.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like taking run lines that juice.
And -130?
Yeah, I probably will.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's tough. I hate it, but I think it's hitting. And I mean, looking at Javier, like this is going to be the 5th time that he's seen them. And they faced him a week ago and didn't particularly pitch well. And look at his lines on Prize Picks. Like, good God.
Really good.
Sky high.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, hey, first of all, Chad, you guys fucking geek me out. This is just a hilarious comment. Trust the milk. You're right, though. You're right. You guys fucking geek me.
Yeah.
I mean, do I think Houston wins this game? Yeah, probably. I love that Texas won yesterday. I think that's a good thing for today for Houston.
And he's talking about taking pitchers back to back against the same team. Yeah, he didn't pitch well against them a week ago, though. That's what I like more than anything.
Right. That is a good thing. I'd be more concerned if he threw a gem in the last outing, which is crazy to say out loud. But even if he's not pitching well and they're still getting wins, I mean, that could happen again today. I mean, it's fucking, what is his name? Cole Reagans?
Yeah, Cole Reagans.
I mean, it's Cole Reagans. Come on. I feel like we've faded this guy before and gotten burnt. Have we faded this guy before and gotten burnt?
Have we?
I don't
You
know.
know,
I
he's
feel
only
like we
made
have.
like 4 starts.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago, I thought. I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, you taking your guy Henry against you Darvish tonight?
Nah,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't love the Padres either. I just don't really care to touch that game like at all.
Yeah,
Nothing's really screaming at me there. I'm good. I'll pass.
that's fair.
Let them do it.
That's fair. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, that game's on Fox Sports. That could be ugly for you Darvish. He gets a little nervous. If this team's playing tight and nervous, and you Darvish is starting tonight, we'll be seeing.
Yeah.
And the Snakes are playing like the fucking Nats were when they were on a crazy run. I mean, the Snakes probably aren't going to make the playoffs, but they're young. They're playing with energy. They're fun. This team is going to be pretty good for the next couple of years. I think they got to go out and get a couple arms.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could trust these young arms, other than they've been pitching pretty darn well. But they've got some talent, man. Your guy Rojas, obviously, Carroll's a fucking stud. Thomas, I like Kelly. I think he's kind of turned it around a little bit at the plate too. Christian Walker has been mashing the ball. It's Varsho's decent. Marte honestly hasn't even been playing well, and the team's still winning. So
Yeah.
I think it's impressive. I do. Do they have Ivan Melendez? Lauren was saying, did they draft him?
Do they?
I mean, he won't be up for a couple years, but
Yeah. I mean, he's still quite a bit out, but they have plenty of good
got
pieces.
some good young talents.
Yeah.
They do.
A lot of young talent.
I'm with it.
I love it.
I'm with it. God, we got to face Jordan Montgomery today.
Hey, have fun.
Well, shit.
Have fun.
Well, shit. Don't worry, we have Abbott on the other.
No,
We got Abbott on the bump. Mm-hmm.
The savior.
How about it? Yeah, nobody's talking about how Kate Cavalli just got hurt in his first start. Also,
Yeah.
so that's good.
Kate Cavalli.
Literally, Kate Cavalli. I said I was going to drink a beer every time he got a strikeout. He had plenty of strikeouts. I was teed up at the game. Had to make that graphic before because I knew it was coming. I sent it to you and Peter.
Yeah.
Cake Cavalli. I'm going to toot my own horn yesterday with maybe my most accurate pitch on Trent's stream, and it was that damn over in Atlanta, Oakland. I had that game to a T, and I didn't bet it, so that's why it happened.
Unreal.
Shit absolutely soared. I said fucking Irvin was going to have his worst start at home of the season. I mean, he got absolutely shellacked. And I said the Braves will probably end up squeaking it out in a fucking, I think I said like 12-10 game or some bullshit like that, and ended 10-9. Shit was free. And it worries me taking overs in that stadium, right? That stadium is fucking huge. But that was one of the freest bets ever. And I hope somebody who was listening took it. I really do. And yes, Cade throws extremely aggressive, which it could cause injury concerns for sure. But we've seen guys like Scherzer who throw really aggressive, have no injury concerns young in their career. So maybe he's just a freak. He's probably not, though. He's probably going to be bad. It is what it is. So Irvin has a fake ERA. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's a little fake. I mean, he's been pitching bad over the last 5 starts. If you look at his last 5 starts, they've been bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming down to earth. It's still Cole Irvin at the end of the day. It was going to happen eventually.
Still a good season from Cole Irvin, even if he ends the season like this every game. It's still a hell of a year from him.
Yeah. I mean, are we taking Strider over 3.5 hits?
Uh-huh. I'm down. You know I can get behind that, bro.
I just think it's so weird looking at these fantasy lines. It doesn't make sense to me.
Talk it out.
I mean, so I was looking at Strider and Garrett Cole, right?
Okay.
Strider's 43.5, Garrett Cole's 42.5. They're both, projected to go around the same length. Strider's a strikeout higher. He's a minus 300 favorite compared to just 200. And I would even think you would lean Garrett Cole to go a little longer with the doubleheader first game happening before that. Yet they're around the same exact fantasy score. So one of them I think has got to give, whether it's Garrett Cole going out there and complete game shutout, absolutely shoving, or Strider getting hit up a little bit, because 43.5, you got to be damn near perfect to get that.
Well, I think here's the game plan with that. If we want to take that angle, let's see what happens in this first Twins-Yankees game. We're blessed with an early game here. And if the Twins end up winning game 1, I think there's a better chance that Cole throws a gem in game 2, and then the Yankees avoid a sweep on a doubleheader at home, which only happens 30% of the time.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the right way to look at it. Let's see what happens in this 3:00 game where we've got fucking, was it Varland versus Armand? Is that what we got going on here? Do you think that line for the Yanks is a little short? I know lines are always weird on doubleheaders. They're always a little shorter than usual.
Yeah, they're always
That
a little
line
short.
is short with how well he's been pitching.
Well, I mean, Peter did say, like, I wasn't aware of Varland, and I know you weren't either. Plus, you do have the horrible Yankees lineup that's in right now, but he's been pitching well in the minors. I guess he's a pretty solid prospect for them, so I don't think it's that weird. I just think it's a lot of whatever you get. Is it what?
Is this his MLB debut?
I believe so.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
MLB debut, and he's plus 120 against the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of read. It's hard to kind of read.
Doubleheaders are sketch.
Yeah. I was looking more into this hits thing, like kind of as we're talking to.
Good.
He's only, like, in his last 4 starts, 3, 3, 6, and 2. And 2 of the 3s were the Mets and the Astros. So I just still think that's weird that they're hanging that against the A's. With 3 A's guys up for half total base, which is the big guys. So no surprise, but strange. Very strange.
Yeah, I love hearing you break down the prize picks board because it helps me figure out what I want to fire off straight bets wise.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really a way to straight bet that because we're kind of just saying by betting anything like a over 3.5 hits or his under fantasy score or whatever, it's just betting him to not be perfect, essentially.
We take him to not throw a perfect game?
Yeah, it's pretty much what we're doing.
Okay. Yeah, that's tough. But hey, we need some redemption in prize picks today, although I'm sure you hit a bunch with your Randy prop. But I got burned by White on the fucking, what team is that? What team is he on? I think the Blue Jays. I got burned by White, who, I mean, they got my ass. I think they put that prop up just for me to take. And he literally walked the bases loaded. I knew that shit was caked. He looked so good in the first couple innings. Yeah. And then he forgot how to throw a strike. It happens.
Yeah,
it happens. Just, maybe our guy John up here can give us some insight on that, Mr. Blue Jay. Let's bring him on. Let's see what he's got to say about it. Bro, he sucks.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, man, Kikuchi. Let's cut right to business, John. Kikuchi and White is not a combo for success.
No, but luckily they're both the 5th starters, so they get cut out in the playoffs.
That is true. That is true. Well, you got to get into the playoffs first, although I think you're in a pretty good spot now.
I think if they win today, they'll feel pretty good. I think if they lose today, then it's still a race for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that game then, because I've got some questions. We saw a pitching change here. We got Wells coming off the IL and pitching. I don't know if I like that better or worse, but I'll tell you one thing. That line is short.
Well, did you see what the plan was, too? They're using Wells as an opener.
So Kramer's did they say that?
Yeah. Kramer's still pitching bullpen or whatever.
It's actually not terribly surprising because it's better Kramer than whoever they would have pulled out of their bullpen anyway. Wells wasn't going to go more than 4 innings. He doesn't go more than 5 innings before he's coming off the IL. Coming off the IL, he wasn't going to go more than 4, so yeah, that makes sense.
What's their plan with him? I mean, it worked out really well initially where they tried to stretch him out and use him as a starter. I mean, he was great for them in the bullpen in the past, and they're trying to stretch him out, but it doesn't really seem like it's been working, and it might have led to an injury for Wells.
For Wells, yeah. So I think, like you mentioned, he was in the bullpen last year. I don't think he was pitching well. But then he was put in the starting rotation this year and he was pitching well. It seems like that's happened for a lot of these Orioles guys, that they were taken essentially out of their roles last year and forced to be in the bullpen. That kind of contributed to why their bullpen was so bad last year. Then you push these starters into the starting roles this year and get your actual relievers in the back end. And that's kind of just been their bullpen transformation. But they've done it with Bruce Zimmerman, Dean Kremer. I think this offseason they're going to end up signing a few more starting pitchers, and you'll see a couple of those guys go back to the bullpen. But, yeah, like you mentioned, it'll be interesting because they seem to have success when they start, and they don't have success when they relieve.
Yeah. And then you saw a guy like Lopez who was terrible as a starter, and they moved him to the pen, and he was really good. And then they traded him, and now he's terrible, which is hilarious. So that was a win for them. And now they have an even better closer, Bautista, who is literally, I mean, he gave up a run last night, but I mean, you put that guy in a one-run game, I don't know if I'd rather have another closer in the league than Bautista right now. He's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of come out of nowhere too. But like that splitter, I mean, he throws 100 and he has a nasty splitter. All of a sudden, he's got two of the best pitches in the league. he's honestly one of the like top pitchers that I wouldn't want to face. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's scary. He's huge. He throws hard as shit. He's nasty. And he did come out of nowhere. Is he going to be able to pitch today? I need to see how many pitches he threw last night. He threw 2 innings.
Yeah, so good question. He's definitely going to be available. 100% going to be available. I highly doubt he goes more than an inning. And
there's no way.
If he does, then he's going to be very susceptible. He's not going to be nearly as effective walking guys, missing pitches. And this Blue Jays lineup, you can't miss pitches to them right now. I mean, when Bo Bichette's all of a sudden hitting like 750 in his last week, like this lineup is scary again.
He threw 25 pitches last night, which is better than I expected for going 2 innings. He had a really quick first inning. I mean, John, what are you thinking about this game? I mean, you're the Toronto guy. I know you've been following the Orioles too, obviously. Do you think this line is a little short for Manoah on the bump here with the way that Toronto's offense has been rolling?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I think Manoah's career stats, his past career against the Orioles, is kind of helping us here because for whatever reason, the Orioles have been his like bugaboo. He hasn't had great stats against them. Even last year, I think his worst start of the season was against the Orioles. So, and that was against a bad lineup last year too. So for whatever reason, he seems to struggle against the Orioles. But then you've got the Blue Jays bullpen, they can put out a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guy if they need to. And Manoah is going to go 5 or 6 innings. Whereas the Orioles bullpen, it's extremely worked after yesterday. You can't have Bautista go 2 innings again. And the Blue Jays are hitting right now. As mentioned, Bo Bichette is on fire. They moved him up. I think he was batting 7th or 8th, and you move him up to the 3rd hole. Like you have Lourdes Gurriel batting 8th right now. He's hitting 290 on the season. Like this team, I think they realize that this series is so big, and they're also playing much better on the road. They're 11-4 on the road in the last 30 days. They're like 4-8 at home. So it's important to pay attention to those weird trends this time of year. Like for whatever reason, certain teams are doing better where they shouldn't.
Yeah, I really wish that this was any other team in this spot besides the Orioles, because part of my brain is thinking, yeah, this line is really short for Toronto, and my contrarian senses are screaming to take Baltimore and fade that line with Manoah there. But this is also Baltimore at home, where people love betting on them. People are hip to them not losing. And they've been incredible this season at home just in general. So, and they're also bringing in a decent amount of money too, which is kind of sketching me out. I'm seeing damn near 70% of the handle is on the Orioles at this point. And I know it's early, but I don't think I cannot fade your Toronto team respectfully tonight with this line. It's ridiculous to me.
Krabs, I came onto this show, and I play a lot of underdogs. I came onto the show expecting at least like 3 or 4 opposing viewpoints as you. I always have, even when I play underdogs, I feel like you're on the favorite, which scares me more,
I mean, by the way. I'm always on the weirdest bets on the card, and I think getting Wells/Creamer at plus 120 against one of the best pitchers in the game, against one of the hottest offenses in the game is weird as shit. Just plain and simple.
I really like the over, honestly. I think the line's at 7.5 for some reason.
Yep.
If talking about weird lines. So there's no reason that should be 7.5, honestly.
Yep.
So yeah, I really like that over.
When these teams play, offense absolutely soars. These guys put up runs left and right. I've noticed that for the past couple years, honestly.
I think it's 13 of the last 14 or 15 of the last 6, something like that, of the matchups between these teams have hit the over.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because Manoah's on the bump, and that's why it's 7.5, but
that's exactly why.
Low.
But he
weirdly
hasn't.
Low.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched well against
you. You can be on the under.
I like the under. There, I said it. I do. Doesn't mean I'm going to play it, but it's definitely a lean. I mean, we see a series where pitching has been something. and offense has been prevalent. And we're getting a total here at 7.5 when everyone's hip to the overs in this series, Soren. I think it's definitely weird that it's at 7.5, even with an ace like Manoah on the bump. I think it's interesting to say the least, but I can't resist the Orioles today. Although I will say, John, if you're on Toronto today, the Orioles are my kryptonite, and they own me. They live beachfront in my head, so you could be in a good spot. I mean, Jovan, am I tripping, dude? Is this line not as weird as I think? Am I forcing it? What do you think, dude?
I just honestly, I don't have a good grip on a lot of the Orioles lines. Like it's,
Okay.
I take them. Those are like they're the main team where I have to try and baseball brain read it and just say forget the line because a lot of their lines look short. A lot of their lines sometimes look long when they're against inferior teams. So it's just like make your read on the game. I can't really say it's too short or whatever because Alek Manoah against the Orioles that has been a big issue, especially this season. So. I don't know. I don't think it's aggressively weird. It's not a line screaming at you saying, "Okay, take this," because the Orioles do have an absolute horseshoe up their ass. They're just going to win games no matter what. They're every time I look, they're getting a massive hit with runners in scoring position. Like they're the greatest team of all time.
Yeah, and that's why I said I really wish this was any other team.
Yeah.
Besides the Orioles.
You've seen my plays. I've played the Orioles the first 3 games of this series. Granted, the Orioles burned me real bad that second game of the doubleheader. Mm-hmm. That's just a game that you can't lose, in my opinion. And honestly, I would be on the Orioles probably this game if they were able to split that doubleheader. But the Blue Jays kind of honestly just like came out and dominated, frankly. Neither of the games were even close.
I'm with you.
And then yesterday they came back, they tied the game. They had no business even being in the game, and then the Orioles came back and won it. Or I don't think tied it. I think made it 6-5.
They were down, like they would be down 1 the entire game. Like the Orioles would score, and then Toronto would score again, and it'd be a 1-run game. And then the Orioles would score 2, and then Toronto would score 2, it'd be a 1-run game. It was the weirdest game ever. You're right. I was on Toronto yesterday, and I felt like we were down 10 the whole game, not 1.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not a good game for them. But the other games of the series, Toronto was dominating. So we'll see. It's a smart, wise person would probably just say, maybe stay off this one because it's the Orioles and they live beachfront in your head.
We're not wise.
No, I think I'm going to hammer the Orioles today, plain and simple. It is what it is. I can't resist that line. I've been looking at it all day. It's looking at me funny. Let's head to New York. We've got a doubleheader. What are we thinking about these games? What is your mindset for doubleheaders? I'm very curious because lines are always a little weird. I feel like they're always a little bit shorter in doubleheaders. Totals are a little weird. You're getting a lot of backups playing. What do you usually like to do in these doubleheaders, John?
Yeah, so doubleheader is a good stat that I like to use. Is the winner of game 1 loses the second game 70% of the time. That's regardless of line. That's just straight up. They lose the game 70% of the time. So a lot of times the way that I like to play doubleheaders is stay off the first game and then just play the loser in game 2, assuming it wasn't the massive favorite that won. And I don't have to bet like a minus 210. I got absolutely burned on the Yankees way earlier this season when they lost that doubleheader to the White Sox. I think it went like 175 and 175 in both games, and I vowed never again. But the way, and then if I like, say, the home team or a home dog, if I like the home dog, if I think they're going to win at least one of the games, maybe even 2, I'll play the home dog in game 1. If they win, we stay off game 2. If they lose, we play them again in game 2 and try to profit in those 2 games. So that's my favorite doubleheader strategy.
Okay. Well, today we're not as lucky. We're getting the Yankees as a favorite in both games. I mean, game 2, it's going to be Garrett Cole, which is sketch because, like our guy Prize Pick Guru in chat said, the Twins have had his number recently, but they're still minus 200. I thought that was very interesting. Are you staying away? What are you about to do with these games?
So I was thinking originally Yankees game 1 against the guy making his major league debut, but then I saw their lineup come out. And they have Ronald Guzman hitting 4th. Josh Donaldson was just added to the paternity list. I think that's his first kid. So he's going to be out at least tonight, maybe tomorrow as well. Probably both games, honestly, today and then maybe tomorrow as well. So that's another, even though he's not hitting, that's still a loss for the Yankees. So I think they lose at least one of these games. So I would definitely go Twins either in the first game, and then if they lose, play them in the second, or hope that the Yankees win game 1 and then just come back in Twins in game 2.
Yeah, I think that'd be the perfect scenario here, and then you could get Minnesota at a very, very live dog sitting around plus 170. That's fire.
Yeah. Ideally,
go ahead.
Best case scenario, we get within a 3-run game, and we get the top 3 relievers coming in, ideally. And so they're used in the first game, right?
Yeah, that'd be ideal for sure, because it's not like that Yankees bullpen has been great anyways. And I can't believe that someone is having a child with Josh Donaldson. How do you look yourself in a mirror? That's the most surprising thing I've taken away from this whole show today. That's incredible.
He is an interesting character. He is an interesting character for sure.
Yeah, I would say. You probably got some stories about that guy being around the league, don't you?
I've got a couple stories for sure. Yeah, you want me to give you a few?
Yeah, 100%. That dude sucks. As long as they're negative towards him, I'm all ears.
Yeah,
they're just like interesting. I mean, he's just like a character. So I worked for if y'all don't know, I worked for the Blue Jays in 2018. I worked at their minor league complex, and that was the year that Josh Donaldson and Troy Tulowitzki were both injured for essentially the entire season. So when players are injured for a long time and they need to rehab, they come back down to the complex and they rehab and work on their injuries before they go off to the affiliates and then do their actual game rehab and then go back to the major leagues. So I ended up spending a lot of time with him, just like shooting the shit in our office room. And like some of his takes, the most standoutable one, if that's a word, it's not, but we're going to make it a word, is he does not believe Ichiro Suzuki belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And he came in one day and was like so set on it. Like Ichiro does not say, his main thing is that he doesn't walk enough. And I remember he was in the gym and he was having this talk with the trainer, and the trainer's just sitting there like, obviously, you can't say much, but he's wrong. And like, I'm hearing his points and I'm like, he doesn't walk much, but he had 200 hits. How many times in a row? Like 8 times. Like how many times can you walk if you get hit? If you get that many hits.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the most absurd takes I've heard. Then a couple other things, just like he's a big roller, as you would imagine. He July 4th, he was there and he put up, I think it was 15K for a hot dog eating contest for the staff. So
he threw you guys money to like have a so they could sit back and watch you guys crush hot dogs.
Exactly. He like wanted entertainment on 4th of July. So he threw down a 15K. I don't know the exact one, around there to the winner of a hot dog eating contest. And you would have all the clubbies, all the, like, there are like 5-6 fields and a couple of affiliates there. So you'd have like, a random assistant coach, a couple of affiliates, like grounds crew. And one of our clubbies won it with like 8.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes, something like that.
Holy shit.
And the last thing that comes off the top of my mind is so this was also the year of the World Cup, Soccer World Cup, and he wanted to make a soccer pool and everyone draft a team. Like, you get randomly pulled a team and that's your team for the entire time. Everybody pays the same amount of money. And he wanted to do like a big roller one. So he did, everybody entered 10K and you get one team in his pool. And he ended up being the only person to have 2 teams. Like he put 20K in and he had 2 teams. And of course he ends up having it was a random draw. He has the 2 best teams. His teams meet in the finals. So he ended up setting up this, this really long, like big soccer tournament, ended up getting the only 2 like good teams. And then they just happen to face in the finals. So there's not even like, it's completely anticlimactic at the end.
Okay.
He wins his own money back.
I'd like to go to the casino with this guy. It sounds like he's a big spender.
Exactly. Unbelievable. You make that much money and you can you can spend as much of it as you want.
Literally. I wanted to pull up this video right here. Let me see if I can get it. Him chirping your Rays guy, Jovan.
Yeah.
Chirping it. But it was the weirdest thing ever. Let's see. You guys can see this, I'm sure, right? I'm gonna mute it. So he struck Donaldson out, I guess. And Jovan, who was this pitching? Do you remember?
Springs.
Springs, and he's chirping Springs. He's saying, you won't throw me a fastball. You won't. He's like, come on, now keep walking. And Springs is like, dude, like he's
like,
laughing. He's saying,
three.
I gave you 3
Just
fastballs right
three
there. I
fastballs
gave
and
you
you struck out.
3. Josh Donaldson is like living in his own world where he's never wrong, and that was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what's good with that.
I will say he at least he owns it. Like he's very loud. I mean, you won't necessarily see on the baseball field, but in general, like when he's out loud and confident about something and he's wrong, he'll like own it. Like, so you kind of see that on the baseball field in a sense, but yeah, it's kind of funny to hear him like be very big about something and then be proven wrong.
Yeah. I mean, he was at one time one of the best players in baseball, so I get it, but he's so washed at this point, and maybe the Yankees need a guy like him to cause some ruckus and clear some benches to get some life back into this team. Honestly, they probably do. But I just think
he's not good.
Does he still think he's the Josh Donaldson of 2015? Is my thing.
Oh, for sure.
He hasn't done shit for them all year.
He's also like still 2% body fat. Like that dude is one of the rippedest guys I've honestly ever seen in my life. Like it is wild. Because he's very into like that kind of stuff. He's very into nutrition. He's very into like any sort of body technique. So he's like very into that. Oh yeah, what was the other thing I was gonna say?
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
He could be like such a huge spark plug for that Yankees team if he wasn't hitting like 220.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say, so I guess it's more of a baseball story. So you guys have watched him play. You know how weird his swing is, right? In terms of like mechanics. Like so he kind of tries to keep his arm level and come across the ball wherever he is. And that's how he uses like his elbow to base where he comes across. It's like a very unnatural swing. And he was down there in 2018 a lot with a lot of our prospects. And so he would be talking to all of them about hitting constantly. Cause obviously you're going to try to pick a guy's, he's still was one of the best hitters of the time. Yeah. You're still going to pick his brain on hitting, but his hitting stroke is so unnatural and so weird that we had to tell him to stop talking to our prospects about hitting because they would try to do it. Honestly, they would they would hear him talk and they would try to go out and do this crazy, like lead with your elbow type thing and then come across, and it just would not work for anyone. So we kind of had to suggest them to not listen to that.
They're like, hey man, I know it works for you and you're a freak and you're one of a kind, but you need to stop telling these prospects because they're listening. They're hitting like shit.
Exactly. Or tell the prospects, don't.
Holy smokes. That's wild.
Try to do what he does.
Anything you said does not surprise me one bit. That guy is a character. They need to drop like a 30 for 30 about that guy being a weirdo. I don't know if you've seen the Manny Ramirez one. There's like a YouTube video about Manny Ramirez being like the weirdest guy ever. If you haven't seen that, incredible. Because Josh Donaldson might be second, but you need to watch that on YouTube. Just type in Manny Ramirez life and it'll pop up. That dude is on another level. Weird.
That's great.
But it's crazy to see Josh Donaldson just absolutely washed, running around acting like he's Aaron Judge. If I was Aaron Judge, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
He's made some good money already. He's had a great career, honestly, already, though.
He's good at baseball. He might not be great right now. He's older.
Exactly. So now we can make fun of him.
He's a suspect character, at times. He's done some weird things that a lot of people don't like. But he's one of the best hitters in baseball over the last, decade or two, for sure. There was a time where he's the best hitter in baseball. So you got to respect him.
The best hitter in baseball.
Yeah. You got to respect him, I guess. But he's on the Yankees now, so I hate his guts even more.
Great nickname too, Bringer of Rain. Honestly,
Bringer of Rain,
one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember when he hit that grand slam like a week or two ago, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, the Yankees are back! He saved the season." I was like, "What are we talking about?" No one on this team hit except for Judge. They celebrated Marwin Gonzalez yesterday or 2 days ago. Was the first Yankee to drive in a run for them besides Aaron Judge in like a week. And they're celebrating all this stuff, dude. The Yankees fans are something.
I will say that when they won, that it was against Manoah and then 2 against the Mets. Granted, at the time, we didn't know the Mets were also playing this bad. So it looks like that was a massive series win. But now we know that the Mets are also really struggling. And it's kind of just like, who's the worst of the two?
Literally, it's the Spider-Man meme of the guys like pointing at each other.
Yeah.
They're both folding like Dollar Tree lawn chairs, and
I got
totally
a question for you though, Jovan. What do you think? You think the Rays are going to do it? Are they going to come back?
Man, I'm not even worried about that right now, to be honest with you. I don't think I think they make it interesting. I think they get it within a couple games, but the Rays schedule is so tough going down the stretch. I mean, they got a bunch of interdivision series and then the Astros. So like, are they going to play really well and keep getting hot like they are? Yeah. I just don't know if it's enough against that schedule to make up the what is it now? 4 or 5 games.
The Astros will be clinched by then, though, so that's something to look forward to.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, and I personally have plus 750 on the Rays, so I'm right with you there.
There you go. Was that a spite bet? Was that an emotional bet? Was that an F the Yankees bet, or do you think they have like an actual chance?
It was the Yankees had a 15.5 game lead. If they're going to have the biggest blown lead of all time, then I want some money on it.
Have to have it.
Because I already have the Blue Jays preseason to win the division. So,
yeah, it's tough to say the Rays are going to do it with this schedule, regardless of how bad the Yankees play, because it's going to be tough.
Jovan, it sounds like you're more worried about just making the playoffs, dude.
I just want them to keep playing well going down the stretch, regardless of if they win the division or not. I would feel much better if Wander would stop getting, hurt in rehab assignments with
a hamate is such a bad. It's like a hamate and oblique are like the two worst injuries for a baseball player, because a hamate, even when it heals, even when he comes back, he won't have any power.
Yeah, it's tough. And if he was up and hopefully getting healthier soon, I'd feel a little better about it. Weirdly, I really wasn't expecting this to be true, but it's looking like Tyler Glasnow is going to be coming back to pitch in the last couple weeks of the season,
that is insane.
Shocking, because not only because of the recovery and the injury or whatever, but the Rays usually don't let that happen. They always say, oh, he might come back at the end of the season. They're like, no, we want to be cautious. We'll save him. Service time, contract negotiations, whatever. But they extended him and he's coming back. So however they use him is going to be pretty huge, but I still think, regardless of if they win the division, I'm not scared of anybody in the AL except the Astros.
Exactly. I completely agree. The Astros, I will say the Astros, I think that roster is far and away better than anyone on that side. That the pitching depth there is unbelievable. They have the best bullpen in the league. And then you have Lance McCullers being added back into the rotation. You'll get Justin Verlander back, Jose Urquidy, Christian Javier. All these guys already have not just playoff experience, but World Series experience too.
Yeah.
I think they're the team to beat, honestly.
Dude, we were literally just talking about this and trying to figure out what the hell they're even going to do. Like, I have their roster pulled up on my phone. Like, what are they even about to do come the playoffs? They have like 7 guys who can start.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to do
exactly?
Verlander should be back by then, right? That's one.
He'll definitely be back. Verlander, McCullers, Valdez. McCullers. Those will be your top 3. And then Urquidy is my guess will be 4 because he has the playoff and World Series experience.
Okay.
And then you have Christian Javier and Luis Garcia for the non-existent 5th spot if you would need it. Like
bullpen, if Verlander
you just put him into the bullpen that's already best in the league.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
It's crazy.
I hate to say it because we all really don't like.
They don't even need Verlander back.
Stuff,
yeah, they really don't. And that's the crazy part. I just think I'm praying that their offense keeps being underwhelming like it has been the last couple of weeks. That's really the only shot anybody has against them in the AL.
Yeah, I will say they do weirdly do that, right? Where they just have down games, they have down series where they just don't score at all. And you're like, wait, I thought this team was like the best team in the league. They should be consistent, winning every game like the Dodgers do. But then the Astros will lose a series to the Athletics or something. You're like, well, maybe not. But you look at their roster, as you pointed out, and I think right now, it's better than the Dodgers personally. And I definitely think they have better odds because I think the NL is going to be a bloodbath. I think the NL is going to be so hard to get through this season, whereas the AL I think would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I was looking at futures this morning, and the Braves plus 850 I thought was an interesting look. I mean, yes, the Dodgers, they're the best team, best roster. I get it. And they're playing great too. It's not even like they're limping in the playoffs. They're playing the best baseball they played all year right now.
They have lost 4 of 7.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I realized that this morning too. I didn't notice that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And a couple of those games were against the Giants, which is sketch.
One was
It
at
did
home, against the Giants. 2 to the Mets, who
It's
clearly.
crazy we're like nitpicking this much. One game was at home. They
Yeah,
lost.
exactly, right.
It's ridiculous.
But that's what you've got to do when
they-
you're evaluating these like ridiculously good teams, right? I mean,
Mhm.
the Dodgers and Astros, they really both don't have many flaws, but that's how you win a 7-game series, right? Is you figure out what those flaws are and you kind of go after it, you attack it. The Astros, their flaw would be their lineup, and their lineup would be the flaw only if they don't hit. Like, it's not like they don't have the talent in there. The Dodgers, on the other hand, I think they're a little susceptible in terms of pitching. Clayton Kershaw coming back from an injury hasn't necessarily been great. Walker Buehler is going to be out. Dustin May came back, but we don't know how good he's going to be. He had 5 walks in his last game. Then you've got your Tyler Anderson, your Tony Gonsolin. They'll probably both be in the rotation, but I mean, they had great seasons, don't get me wrong, but can you trust them in a playoff game, in a playoff start? So there are a lot more questions about the Dodgers. They just got Blake Trinan back, but Daniel Hudson, we know, our World Series reliever, he's still on the IL for them. So definitely some holes.
So Craig Kimbrell sucked this whole season, right? We all know this. And he started playing that stupid Frozen song, Let It Go, as his like closer song. And since he's done that, he's been unhittable.
He literally hasn't given up a hit.
Literally hasn't given up a hit.
Is unhittable.
6 appearances. Unbelievable. I'm going to start playing this pregame for our show, Jovan. Maybe it'll unlock a whole new level of brain usage. I don't even know.
Yeah, you should.
I thought that was very weird. Yes, our guy John in chat. That is a rare Kimbrel W. I agree. I mean, yeah, their bullpen is sus. Although having guys like Hudson and Trinan, who's also an ex-national, I feel like the Nationals are just all spread out across the league, all on good teams, and all just incredible players. Like what?
Welcome to my world.
It's yeah, you're right with the Rays, but like, is this normal for all other teams, or is it just our teams? Like, we look around the league and we see the best players in the league are all players that were on the Nets. And I know I'm biased, right, 100%, but it's ridiculous, and they're all on contending teams, and then we're just sitting back watching C.J. Abrams try to hit a ball out of the infield. It's the weirdest thing ever,
but we're trying to have him hit more ground balls, Krabs.
Trinan, and oh my God, you want to talk about that? You want to talk about Davey Martinez, dude? Oh my God.
You want him to hit ground balls, man. Hit it on the ground.
You wanted to hit hard ground balls? The guy's 100 pounds soaking wet. He's not hitting any fucking ground balls through the hole. Nat's Twitter had a field day.
That was great.
I mean, Davey Martinez means so well. He cares about the players. The dude literally like cries in pressers because he cares so much about the team. He's a softie. His heart is in the right place. Do not get me wrong. And he will put the players in the best position he possibly can. But the dude is not a good manager. Wow, that's wild. A Rosarina, Alcantara, and Tatis they had. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's wild. And they're still
that
really
being good. The Cards, if you look at the card system, they've given up a lot of guys. But that being said, look at all the guys that they did have come up. You know, where do you like? Obviously, you want to keep like an Arozarena, these top prospects, but where do you slot them in? That team is so deep right now. That lineup, you don't even have any spots on the bench. So a lot of times, like these GMs, they know guys are guys. Like they'll know maybe Randy Arozarena is a guy, but you're kind of giving him up because you know you're still going to get a ton of value out of him in that sense.
Right.
On the other hand, though, if you're like the Pirates and you trade for Chris Archer thinking that it's going to, get you to the playoffs for the first time in a while, get you over the hump, and you give away Shane Baz as your player to be named later, then that's on top of a Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows.
It's the worst trade of all time.
We could sit up here for an hour and talk about all the pitchers that the Pirates have lost. It's actually incredibly sad.
I was actually talking about this morning. I was on a radio show and we were talking about the Pirates and all the pitchers they lost because they were asking me how much talent that the Pirates they were wondering why the Pirates haven't created much talent in the pitching ranks, and I argued that I disagreed. I think they've created a ton of talent. They've just given it all away.
Yes, or guys who weren't even that great on their team go to another team and they're
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Joe Musgrove, a Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, remember, the Pirates' whole philosophy was throw sinkers with Neil Huntington. It was throw sinkers. They were looking early at advanced analytics and tried to have him hit it into the defense. And then Garrett Cole goes to the Astros and all of a sudden starts throwing his four-seamer up in the zone. And that's when that started to get hot and is now one of the best pitchers in the league. So, yeah, the Pirates have developed a lot of pitching talent. They've just given it all away.
I'm with you. I mean, at what point do you say maybe we keep these guys and try to be good? It's like it stresses me out seeing these teams who stink year in and year out just let all their players walk over and over and over and over and over again. Remember the Tigers a little bit earlier. The Tigers had a bunch of great pitchers too at one point, let everybody walk, and they all ended up being studs all other places, including our guy Scherzer. So wild.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely wild. And I'm with you, John. Garrett Cole has been a significantly better pitcher since he's thrown fastballs up in the zone, except for this one spot right here. Boom! How about that one up in the damn railroads? Up in the damn railroads. That was not a good fastball up in the zone. Besides that, though, the dude's a freak.
I will say, so Ben Cherington is the new Pirates GM. He was my boss. Wow. So I know him very well. He used to be the GM for the Red Sox, won the World Series with them, then had kind of a different disagreement with the front office and left them and came to the Blue Jays and had a bigger role with us. And he was in charge of the player development essentially. And he is honestly like one of the smartest guys I've ever met. I mean, obviously a GM is one of the smartest guys I've ever met, but like the way he thinks about things, like it was maybe this second week on the job. This is my first ever job. And I'm coming from college to with the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay. And he's won a World Series with the Red Sox as GM. He's done everything in baseball already, essentially. And 2 weeks into my job, he's picking my brain. I'm like, damn. He's like asking me questions about how I think of things. I'm like, man, like talk about a growth mindset. Like this guy literally just tries to learn constantly from anything he could possibly learn from everybody around him. He realizes when somebody's good at something and he'll like delegate as well. So he's great at delegation. He's great at finding talent. He trusts his guys. Like he's great. And I think the Pirates are going to be a wagon in honestly 2 years. Like this team, they need player development to be good. And Ben Cherington is the best in the world at player development. And I think you're already starting to see it with, guys like O'Neal Cruz coming up. You've got a couple other, Brian Reynolds, Brian Hayes. So you're starting to see it. Exactly. You're starting to see some talent. And then I believe they have Henry Davis in the ranks as well. You've seen how Adley Rutschman affected the Orioles. Well, you come up with a top catcher. He's going to come up soon. That team is going to be really good really soon.
Damn, maybe we take some future flyers. Maybe not next year, but the year after. Maybe we take a little, or maybe we take them just to make the playoffs.
The win total.
Start slow. Maybe we take their win total and minus 110 bet. Start slow because it is the Pirates. But very cool. I mean, John, you got fucking crazy MLB stories left and right. It's awesome having you on here. We have like 5 minutes. You got to have some plays today. Can you spoon feed the squad? You got anything you like?
100%. I'm expecting you to be on the opposite of all these favorites, Krabs. For the record,
fair. And hey, I'll take it. I'll take it on the chin. We're good to go.
And you are already on one of the favorites already. I'm on the Blue Jays, but we already talked about that. I love the Rockies today at plus money at home. Kyle Freeland, Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer is much worse on the road. He has a 4.03. It's also I think he has he's pitched 4 times in Coors Field with a 14 something. Been really bad there. The Rockies are 10th in the league in the last 30 days against lefties. Brewers are 23rd. Freeland's dominated the Brewers earlier this season. The Brewers are 5-10 on the road in the last 30 days. The Rockies are 7-6 at home. And the biggest thing, the Brewers go home tomorrow. They travel today. They go home tomorrow, and they play a doubleheader tomorrow that starts early. So if the Rockies go, I don't think there's a chance at any way you'll see any of the Brewers' top relievers. They'll want to save them for tomorrow. So I really like the Rockies at plus money there.
I actually like the Rockies too. How about them apples?
Dude, there we go.
Man, Dawes is back.
Last night. Freeland at home. I mean, we'll know early if he's locked in or not. That dude's all over the place. But Freeland could go out there and throw a fucking shutout. He's done that before. The dude's a weirdo. Or he could go out there and not
Very
even get
hit
out
or
second
miss.
inning. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Which is what I like in an underdog pitcher, though. A guy who can go out and absolutely dominate.
Right. I wish it was Pat Corbin pitching, but that's okay.
Who has also been dominating lately.
Back.
His last like 2 starts.
He's back. Well, he's not throwing that freaking meatball slider as much anymore. He's throwing the sinker more, and his velo's up. I think he's going up there just saying fuck it and just throwing as hard as he can. He's throwing like 95.
He's pissed.
He's always got. I mean, he's got to be like, what the fuck is going on? Like this dude. And yeah, I get it. Like we should not have paid him, and it was probably a little bit of an overreaction and a reach at the time. He was one of the luckiest pitchers in baseball at the time when we signed him. So definitely a sketch, but he's starting to figure it out a little bit. We'll see.
Would you say though, like the World Series was worth it because he was a very integral part in that team? Like
if we didn't have him, we don't win the World Series.
Exactly.
If we didn't have him, we don't win the World Series without a doubt. He came out of the bullpen and was lights out for us in a weird hybrid role. Yes.
Yeah. As a fan, I would take that contract for World Series any day.
Dude, I would take any contract for a World Series. Are you kidding me? Like literally whatever. Don't care. I'll take it. Don't care if we don't win for another 20 years. We still got a ring. That's more than the Yankees fans can say over the last 13 years. Absolutely agree. Could not agree more. What else you got? You got anything else?
I'm on the Rays. Jovan, you might like that. I mean, there's no reason not to keep riding this team right now, in my opinion. They're even when they put out the AAA lineup they're hitting. They have the 4th highest weighted on base average, or 4th highest runs average in the league since August 1st, I believe. They're 13-3 at home in the last 30 days. Xander, but the main thing here is Bogarts left yesterday early, and he had 9 straight games with multiple hits before yesterday.
Crazy stat.
You take that, which is unreal, but then you take that bat out of a lineup, and JD Martinez also isn't in there. You've kind of all of a sudden have to find a ton of offense from guys who don't necessarily give you offense. So I think that line should be a lot higher.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a good thing for the Red Sox that JD Martinez isn't in the lineup because that dude can't hit anything right now. But I agree. I mean, Xander, that team's already beaten down so much, underperforming. Having Xander come out now, they've got to be like, what the fuck are we even playing for? And the Rays are highly motivated, smart. I take them over the Red Sox here. Are you laying the juice?
And the Red Sox 18-38 against the AL East, 49-32 against everyone else this season. And yeah, I am.
Holy smokes. You're laying the juice. Okay.
Yeah. Laying the juice there.
Wins a win.
I don't mind laying juice on the heavy money lines as long as I'm also playing the straight money line underdogs. So I can essentially match it out if I lose one or hit one. And then the last one I like is the Royals. This might be a good contrarian play for you, Krabs, but Frankie comes back from the IL 198 at home this season, going against Cody Morris, who's making just his 2nd career start, and he only went 2 innings and allowed 3 in his first start. So it's mainly going to be a bullpen game for the Guardians, who have the best bullpen late in the last 30 days, but you get a guy coming in the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning, it's not your best guys, and all of a sudden you're going to give up runs. So I think the Royals pull out a game in that series as well.
Do not hate that play one bit. I like taking dogs for sure, but I bet lines and not teams. The Royals I could get behind here. Has Greinke been okay?
He's coming off the IL. Okay. And usually when he comes off the IL, he's really good.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's just a confirmation bias, but the last couple times he's come off and he's been dominant.
Okay,
inverse Jack Flaherty.
Yeah,
reverse Jack Flaherty, who sucks in his first game back.
Exactly.
Hey, don't let the Nats get hot. Don't let them do it.
Dude, Joey Meneses. Oh my God.
What a story, man. What a story.
Unreal.
He should be getting talked about more. It's because he's on the Nats. I get it, and I'm also biased. I get it. But the dude was rotten in our minor leagues for 10 years. To have the mental fortitude to continue to push and get better and grind. And John, we've talked about it a little bit, this dude should have gotten a shot a couple of years ago. He's been
100%.
You look at his stats in our minor league system over the last 2 or 3 years, and they're impeccable. And I get it, right? He's a late bloomer. He's older. He's got concrete in his cleats. He's slow as shit.
Yeah, he is the Nats, right? They just won a World Series. They were absolutely stacked. So he's blocked. Yeah. You're not going to give a guy a shot in that sense. But I think it's more that he came up and he made it made a career out of it. You know, since he took advantage of this chance, he's gonna get a shot next year. Probably gonna be on the roster regardless of spring training, and probably bought himself, you know, at least a full season next year. So good for him, honestly. I love, if we're talking about plays, 1.5 total bases or him for 2+ hits. Those are good bets.
I mean, his nickname is Joey Four Bags, but the dude's been a doubles machine over the last 2 weeks. He's had like 4 games over the last 2 weeks where he's had at least 2 doubles. Sometimes he's had 3. And he's an absolute incredible story. Just awesome. Rare W for the Nats. We need shit like this, right? And you're seeing the team have a little bit more fun. Couldn't have less fun from the beginning of the season. So it's a good feel-good story, I guess. I don't think it's a gimmick. I mean, is he going to hit 340 his whole career? Fuck no. But the guy can hit. He has major league at-bats up there. The dude can swing it. He's not great at defense or fast or whatever, but he's playing a decent right field. He's playing a better right field than the guy we had playing right field earlier in the season, and he's hitting better too.
The guy who shall not be named.
Yes, literally the guy who should not be named on this stream. God, and he was chirping the Nats the other day too. But John, I appreciate you coming on. You always have some fire stories. It was good to chirp Josh Donaldson for a second. Always a W, and you're coming on giving us some winners as well. So I appreciate it, my man. We're going head-to-head on the Toronto Orioles game. What could go wrong with the Orioles and your team Toronto involved? So that's going to be a sketchy one. But everything else you said, I could get behind. I'm with you on those, which could be good, could be bad.
Yeah, man. No, thank you guys for having me on. It's always fun with you guys.
For sure.
Hopefully we'll win some bets tonight.
Let's do it. Hey, anytime you have that Washington Post Nats champs thing in the background, you're welcome at any time. Just go ahead and pop in. All right, my man.
There we go. I just got to show my Caps one soon too.
Sure. Yeah. Hockey's like 30 days away. Stoked.
Yeah, we don't John. Want to talk about that yet, though.
Not yet. We got football coming up. Come on.
Exactly.
John, I appreciate it, my man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Peace. Jovan, as always, a pleasure, my man. Chat. Let's hit some bets today. Let's stay hot. Let's keep rolling. Jovan, I'll be waiting for the milk.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be waiting. No rush.
We'll be.
No rush. I know it'll be delivered fresh. I appreciate it, brother.
Yep.
Chat. Let's hit some bets.